lap, so a lot of distance to be covered on these tracks, but you know these guys have memorized this track at this point from being fans, watching these drivers when they're kids, to practicing time and time again for this weekend. But for now, we're seeing Chris hold on to that third place, Mitch just behind him, and perhaps a little bit of a gap opening up between fourth and fifth.
If we look up the road from GTZ Chris, we see AMS Vanquish right there in second position. Vanquish is an interesting counterpart. It's JSR Mitch sitting in fourth. JSR Mitch wins week 6 in EMEA's online races. Vanquish wins week 6 in the North American online races. Both in their debut season, both very promising, both incredibly buoyant drivers here, and they have a great momentum coming into the playoffs.
Yeah, if you look at the top of your screen there, we're seeing those numbers, the green and the red. That is indicating basically the movements that we're seeing from these drivers. You see Commando, -5. Dino, -5. A lot of movement. You see there, Vanquish, +4. Chris, +8. So much movement within this race for these drivers as we see a battle here between second and third position, but much more movement than we saw in the first race there, Ali.
Incredible movement, and I wonder if that was something to do with maybe Commando slipping off the track. There was a little bit of an accident. Chris got great advantage of it early on in the race. He's now threatening for second position, though, and Vanquish starting to move into defensive lines.
And it's just amazing the speed coming out of these drivers. They're certainly focused, getting in that comfort zone, and we're seeing some pretty quick lap times. I want to go to Brian Ekberg here again and get some intel on that. What are the speeds we're seeing here, Brian?
Well, we're looking at lap times in the low 4s, of course, but the only two guys, by the way we're looking at it, that are doing 4 flats are Vanquish and Chris. Everybody else is doing 401, 402s or above, but Vanquish and Chris doing 4-minute even laps. So they got a lot of speed. They're deserving the second, third positions right now.
And Chris, Brian, I got to ask, especially on Le Mans, what's the best thing these drivers can do on this track? It's very historic. They've driven it before. What's their main focus when trying to get those lines that they're looking for to get those fast lap times?
Well, you can see it right here. They're drafting one another. I think there's a lot of speed coming right there. They're very brave with their braking, but the most important thing, out of those hairpins, out of those tight corners, come out with the best exit possible. That's the only way to maintain speed on Le Mans.
All right, thank you, Brian, as we see these drivers going down here on lap number 3, getting closer and closer to that finish line. I love it. Chris, he's not happy going from 11 to 3rd. He wants to do more. He is right on the tail of Vanquish, looking for any gaps. And, of course, Venom way off in the distance. But what racing, what incredible racing here from Vanquish and Chris. And you know that Chris wants a little more. You see him getting closer and closer, trying to find a way to sneak past the driver in front of him, and he's already accomplished so much. Wouldn't he love to just add a second place there to just put a cherry on top?
Chris wants to get through, and Vanquish looking very weak. They're wide through Arnage. Chris is going to have the run. You saw the puff of smoke there as Vanquish over-egged it on the throttle. Not a perfect run now, down towards the Porsche chicane, and Chris on the inside.
Look at that, basically a fourth of his car, half the car, almost getting up side by side with Vanquish. Look at this from Chris, trying to make this pass happen as we approach the Porsche curves. A little bit of jockeying here on the left, on the right, but Vanquish able to sneak out in front, just barely staying ahead there. And remember, we're getting closer and closer. This is lap 3. We're getting close to the finish line here, and we talked about this earlier, a very technical part of the track. Is that the move that Vanquish needed, or does Chris still have time to make a pass?
That was not polite from Vanquish either way. He was saying to Chris, you know, if you want to come past me, you're going to have to fight for it. Way wide there on the way out of Maison Blanche. Vanquish might have to fight Chris off one more time before this race closes.
Yeah, we're getting closer to that finish line. Chris trying to find a spot to sneak past Vanquish in front of him. You see Venom there out in front, not too far away as we approach this finish line. Vanquish trying to hold on to that lead, swinging that back fender a little bit back and forth, doing a little wave towards Chris behind him, saying, you know what, you had a good race, but I got second place, my friend. And I got to say, a lot of really impressive performances there. Vanquish, Chris in particular. Chris going from 11th to 3rd. Vanquish going from 6th to 2nd. That's an incredible amount of movement, Ali. But, you know, a big story here might be JSR. You know, they held 2nd, 3rd, and 4th entering that race, and that's certainly not how it finished up. So just so much movement. I love seeing that here at the championships.
Chris, yeah, applying so much pressure there toward the end of that race. You saw the rear of Vanquish's car just snaking all over the place. Incredible to watch, like a slinky on the back of that car. JSR, yeah, as you say, big losers in that race. But there are definitely some big winners, and especially in the form of GTZ Chris. What a run to